Oh my goodness, how I love fresh, juicy peaches, especially in season. Today on Cooking Made Easy with June, I'm baking me up some peach cobbler. So grab those peaches from Macy's and join me on Spanish Fork 17's awesome cooking show, Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. Hi, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June. Today, peach cobbler. Can you say that again? Oh, fresh peach cobbler. Not just peach cobbler, but fresh peach cobbler, because we're going to use beautiful fresh peaches from Macy's. Now, my husband, Steve, he hates peach pie, peach cobbler, but you know, it's because of the texture. Because you know, a lot of times you get those peaches, they use the canned peaches, like in restaurants, and even so even some restaurants they just use because it's easier, right? But I love peaches, and it makes a whole new difference if it's fresh. So now the cutting part, a lot of times when you can peaches, you do boil the peaches and then you let it cool a little bit, then you peel it. But for this purpose, I love the different textures of different ripeness of the peaches. So just grab any peaches, and I have here these are a little firm and these are a little bit softer. But so you just basically peel. I'm going to skip the step of boiling. I hate too many steps. So actually, I'm going to use a potato peeler and peel them, start peeling them like this. And it doesn't have to be completely off. If you have a little bit of peeling left, it will add some texture and fiber, right? So, but on the most part, you do want most of the peach peel off. So, talking about peaches, like again, I said, the fresh peaches are the key. And I think another episode I had talked about when I drove through Georgia, and which is where we found a whole peach community, peach trees, and a huge peach store, and that had peach jam, peach whatever, everything peaches. And I went in there and they had hot, fresh peach cobbler and they served it with peach ice cream. Oh my gosh, I wish we had time to make fresh peach ice cream, but we don't, but that's okay. So here I peeled the peaches, not perfectly, and then you just cut right to you can feel the pit, the pit, and then you just make wedges like that. And just go all the way around. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then it depends on the ripeness. I'm going to have used, so we need about 4 cups. So I went ahead and used a 4-cup approximately measuring, can't speak today, measuring bowl. And so I basically put a little pressure right to the seed, and then it just comes right off like that. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I just use my fingers and then pry it off like that, okay? Now, this one is partially ripe. Now, if you get one that's not as ripe, now this one's a little bit more ripe too, then you may, can just cut it, and I'll show you that with this one. Oh gosh, let's see. When I use a knife, it takes too much of the meat off. So then I like to use a potato peeler, and I just do it like that, okay? Okay. So I have approximately, it doesn't say exactly 4, but I'm just going to, for the sake of time, let me do this really quickly here. I do want a few more peaches because I like to have a really good amount, because that's my favorite part of the cobbler. Oh, well, maybe the topping. Okay, so I'm just going to do a roughly like that. Now I wanted to show you real quick. We're going to go ahead and cut this one. Now, so if it's not as ripe, you can also, I bet Pete's going, oh, she's going to cut her hand. And you can also go like this. See how I just cut like that, and it just comes right off. Okay, so anyway, so I'm going to do this and get the peach separated from the pit. I know it's messy, but it's so much fun, right? Okay, so we have that. All right, so I'm going to move this aside. turn your stove on. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add a ½ cup of sugar. Oops. I think I measured, I'm not sure if this is the one that's a ½ cup. I think this is the ½ cup one. Oh no, the other one was ½ cup. But I'll measure again. I'll add a ½ cup of sugar. Oh, I guess that was ½ cup. Okay, clingety, I gotta remember to take that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn the stove on to about medium. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch to the, okay, so there's a lot of options. The instruction says that I'm gonna cook it first and then you put it in a pan, but I hate stuff like that. So I like to do one-step things. So I love using a skillet. So a tablespoon of cornstarch, a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, which we're just going to guess because it's just a pinch. And now, if you're going to use other berries, so this is a great recipe because you could use other berries like blackberries and all that, then you would omit the cinnamon. I would use the cinnamon just for like if you want to do apples and peaches. Okay, and then we're going to, that's it. And then I'm going to mix this up so that we can get all the cornstarch into the sugar. Now, here's my little change to most recipes is I love the different textures of fresh peaches. So I'm going to set aside about a cup of peaches. Oh my goodness, okay. About a cup of peaches. All right, I have all on the peeling, which should be okay. And I'm going to chop up and set aside some fresh, just some coarse chopping of some fresh peaches so that I'm gonna add after I add to the cooked one so we can have a little bit of a different texture. I thought about this because I thought, when my sister-in-law made blueberry pie, she did something similar to that, and it's so yummy. See, and if you have some that has some peeling, it's okay. We'll just leave that so that we can have some different textures to it. So then we just turn the stove on. It's on medium. I'm going to turn it up a tiny bit, and then see how quickly it melts. Probably because this is a big black skillet, so that's why. But I'm going to go ahead and you just start stirring all the sugar, cornstarch / a little bit of cinnamon on there, and just coat it through. And let it start to boil. So you have to stir this constantly and let it boil. Now again, the texture is the key thing for me. So I'm not going to cook this very long. A lot of recipes call for you to cook it for like a whole minute after it boils. But because it's going to have additional cooking in the oven, I'm going to really just make sure that everything is incorporated and let it, if you let it sit, you can see it's really cooking it. So at this point, I'm going to semi-cook it. So at this point, I'm going to take a little break and we'll come back and make the topping. Okay, so that's it. So this is for the filling. So come back. All right, welcome back. So I had forgotten to put about a teaspoon of lemon juice or lime juice. I love lime, so I always go up with lime. So just go ahead and squeeze it on there. If you forget, if you don't, if you have some of the tangy peaches, it's okay, but it just kind of keeps the color a little bit more appetizing. And I'm also, so after you cook it, and if you notice the peaches are semi-cooked, and that's perfect, I'm going to go ahead and add my fresh ones and just stir that right into the pan. Now, if you have like really ripe peaches, that's okay. And I would honestly, if you have really ripe peaches, I would go ahead and cook the sugar and the cornstarch and then like first and get it melted together and then add your really ripe peaches so you don't overcook your peaches when you bake them. But some people love that texture of the peach, you know, and so it's okay. So I'm going to do that. Now we're going to make the topping. My favorite part, I actually modified Betty Crocker, I'll give her credit, the topping that I use, but I always add extra. I always do time and a half because I love that little crunchy pie part, right? So, okay. I feel like I wanted to take a bite of peaches. But I had just had someone mentioned to me that you can get fresh peaches at the farmer's market. I am so excited to go. I have not gone there, but at the farmer's market on Saturdays, they have the fresh, yummy, peaches in Spanish Fork. So maybe I'll see you there, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the topping, which is basically a cobbler, you know, like kind of like a pie crust, but semi-pie-ish because it doesn't have as much of the fat in it. So I did time and a half, so it's 1.5. Well, this is just, I modified the recipe for you. So we did about 4 1/4 tablespoon of butter, and I love to soften it with a grater. So because we're going to cut the butter into here. Oh, and then we have to add the sugar too. So it doesn't matter, it's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna add, so this is already kind of soft, it's been sitting down, but this is good, it keeps it. So that was about 4.5 because this is like 8 tablespoons. So if you get a little bit more butter than the normal, it's fine, it'll be awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna put this aside. And then I'm going to add sugar, about a tablespoon of sugar. So let's measure about so much. And, oh, so it's 1.5, excuse me. And then flour, sugar, and butter, and 2 1/4 baking powder. So that's about 2, and then a little quarter. It'll turn out good. And that. And then we're just going to take this and we're going to go ahead and put that together, and we're just going to cut it. Now, if you don't have one of these pastry cutters, this is what it's called, it's okay. You can also take your fingers and just start pinching like that, and that will work also, because you want a little crumbly, kind of like making a pie crust. So this is kind of like a little pie crust topping, but it's, now you always wonder, what is the difference between pie crust and a cobbler? Well, a cobbler is a little bit more sticky, you'll see, and a more sticky topping. And I wonder if my husband's mother or grandmother would talk about, she's from the South, and she would make a cobbler, and she would bake the topping partially and then stir up the cobbler, the partially baked topping into it, and then add additional topping and then bake it. Oh my gosh. You guys need to try that. I'm gonna have to try that one day. I haven't tried it, so otherwise I would do it today. Okay, so I have that. So you see how it's crumbly like that? So I'll just do this to make sure. So we have that, and then now we just add the milk, and then we just stir the milk into it. Oh, wait a second, I keep forgetting. Oh, I knew I forgot something, a little salt, pinch of salt. Look at these cute little wooden spoons. Let me see how much salt, 3/4 teaspoons of that. It's about like that. I'll do that again. Okay, so I got 3/4 teaspoons of salt in there too. You guys can just read the recipe and follow it, unlike me. Okay, so we have that, and then we're just going to pour the milk into here and stir it. See how it's kind of sticky? I went ahead and used a spatula because we're not, I don't want to waste the topping. I'm going to go ahead and use spatula so you can get all the flour from the sides together, because it's not necessary to roll it out or anything, so that's not the point. And here comes the fun part. See how you get it all together, and you just come to the pan and just start dropping. You could use a spoon. I'm like always using too many gadgets, and I just have to wash them all again, right? So we just start using your spatula and drop them in there. Look at these beautiful peaches. So do it kind of evenly. Now, depends the size of your pan. This is a little bit shallower one, but we have you can also use a smaller pan, and then you can make a thicker crust. But I'm just going to, actually you could even do this. This is a fun part because you could also have your kids help you do this. It's so easy. So it doesn't have to be perfectly pretty because it'll just bake together. Perfectly pretty. Every time I say perfectly perfect or I always think of Mary Poppins. Properly Perfect, I don't know. I just love that movie. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Mary Poppins. Who doesn't know Mary Poppins? But the original one, you guys, is so awesome. You cannot replace the originals. Okay, so I'm gonna get more of this crust. So you see it's all spread out, but it will eventually, and actually it's really pretty because it'll just bake together. And even if you have like gaps, it's gonna be still delicious. You're going to see seeping syrup and peaches coming out as you do this. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and actually I'm going to wash my hands a little bit here. And to make it look a little pretty, I like to add a little bit of sugar on top. So just make sure that it's not salt. Yes, this is sugar. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add additional, just a little bit so it'll glisten. And I'm also going to sprinkle a tiny bit of cinnamon, just a little bit on top like that, just to add some color. Okay, now we're going to just put it into the oven. And then, so we're going to take a little break. When you come back, we're going to have hot peach cobbler. I'm so excited. So come back for the best part of the show. Oh, you guys, look at this beautiful peach cobbler. So you bake it for about 25 minutes, 400 degrees, for about 25 minutes, and just so it's kind of a light golden brown, and you can see the cinnamon and everything. Look at that, and so you can see all the juices coming up, and it's delicious. It smells so good in here. Again, I always promote those virtual things. Someone please invent a virtual thing so we could just smell through the TV. Willy Wonka tried. Still haven't achieved it yet. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put a pretty scoop on here. Oh, look at that. See how the peaches have cooked? In fact, I might even you might want to even undercook your peaches, or maybe even just put the raw peaches so it doesn't have this too overcooked. But it's so yummy though. I love that. And see all the ones that I left the peelings on, there's adds a little color. So if you want to put some with peelings on it, you can add a little color to it. So, oh gosh, there's something on here. Okay, I'm gonna actually transfer this for the picture. Okay. Put that there. Put the spoon here. Now, let's get some ice cream. Of course, you can whip up your own. Whipped cream with a little cinnamon, and that would be really yummy on this. But I'm going to scoop up some ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and let's put scoop right there. It doesn't have to be right in the middle. And let's go ahead. I feel like I'll just do one. And then, oh my gosh, mint grows everywhere. You guys have to grow some mint, and it smells so good in your kitchen. And mint is perfect garnish for any dessert. So there you have a beautiful. Again, you guys come and watch my show and make everything look gourmet. And we'll just put a little spoon there. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna leave that for the picture. And I'm going to get me a little bowl. Oh, here's a little bowl. And I'm going to have some. I'm so excited. Okay. Add some of that. Put a little bit of ice cream on mine. And I'm going to have a taste. I don't know if you guys can see. So here I have one that's a little bit more cooked and one less cooked. And get the crust. Ha ha ha, anticipation. You guys, I know we think we have to say, oh, this is so awesome, but I'm not exaggerating. I'm completely honest with you. Every time I taste something that I make, if it's not so good, I would go, That's so good, you know, or that's awesome. But when it's really good, you can tell that I take a second and third bite. Oh my goodness. You guys, fresh peaches, farmer's market, Macy's, wherever, Spanish Fork. Spanish Fork is an awesome city. We got everything, got our own TV show. We got our own TV station. Love the Spanish Fork. Well, till next time, you guys, happy baking. Go to Macy's, and thank you so much for coming.